to Greenville Tea Party. One of the things that I have enjoyed beginning talks with is something that I found kind of blew up Chris Matthews' mind, so I like to repeat it once in a while. See, there are some of you who have afflicted yourself with MSNBC. Okay, I point out, and I think you're here because you know this already, a lot of our fellow Americans are finding out that we've been in a war for quite some time, cultural war, a war that's got total objectives because it's being fought by socialists who want to control everything. They certainly want to control our guns, and that's the area that we lobby on in Congress at Gun Owners of America. But they're after everything else that you have. They're after your property, they're after your businesses, your children, everything. It is a total war. Finally, we have begun to enter the field of battle and push back. But we're pushing back, I think it's, and I've heard some references to it here, and I think that's excellent. We are fighting people who think they deserve to rule. And that's one reason why they're so hard to get their attention. Because they're the ruling class, not you and I. They've got it completely upside down about who is the boss in our system of government. And so, I'll give you an example of how I see this attitude. I like to mention a British member of Parliament that I debated just before their gun control and confiscation back in 1996, before the vote was taken. He and I debated on CNN International. And I pointed out that our experience here has been that when you make the laws easier for people to carry concealed firearms, crime goes down. More guns, less crime. And I said, I can tell you, sir, that if you go ahead and commit this law, commit this attack on the British people, you're going to see your violent crime rate go up. He said, oh, I say, anybody that would say that over here would say it's quite flaky. I said, I know you would, but that's why we're no longer British. But, you know, I could have said the same thing with Charles Schumer, Dianne Feinstein. They've all got the same attitude. I spoke at a college last week, actually, a liberal college, but now I repeat myself. And the college Republicans had invited me, a sort of a feisty group of individuals, greatly outnumbered by the liberal drones on the campus. I said, well, do you have any conservative professors on this campus? Well, not that we know of. So I saw that I'd come during diversity week. Isn't that special? They had a diversity week. We even have a diversity council, and the college Republicans had to send a representative to it. It's wonderful. And so I said to the audience, and most of them were liberals, good-sized crowd that the CRs had gathered. I said, I'm excited to be here during Diversity Week. I hadn't even known that that would be the case, but I'm so delighted. I said, because we at Gun Owners of America are all into diversity. We like people with 357s, we like people with 9 millimeters, diversity of us. Seriously, what we're fighting in this educational system that's been run by the government for the government is a zero-tolerance program, which has, I think, taken an effect. These kids were so convinced that guns are bad that they just felt better not having them around in their university atmosphere. And some of them had a great deal of difficulty, no matter how many facts were presented, that in fact it's just the opposite of their concerns, and that there really is a difference between feeling safe and being safe. Did not compute. That's very scary to think that they're going to be voting. Let's hope that they are not interested in that. Now, this Second Amendment has begun to benefit from the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment is the pushback amendment in our day. Those powers that are not delegated to the United States nor prohibited to the states are reserved to the states and to the or to the people respectively. And in the Second Amendment area, we've seen a number of states already enact laws that say if the gun is made in the state, it stays in the state, no federal gun laws apply. And Wyoming has done something which is really special. Wyoming has said if a federal agent tries to impose federal law over against local law, he's committing a criminal act and can be put in jail. Those two legislators here in South Carolina to go and do likewise. and ask that the penalty be at least 366 days. Under federal law, that triggers the loss of gun rights. So 366 days is what you're looking for. Let me give you an example of how this can be enforced by the sheriff. He is a real important cog in enforcing the 10th Amendment and protecting the state and the county against the feds. A friend of mine lives outside of Memphis, and a few years ago, there was a bad fire in a barn that had a lot of powder and ammo in it. Whole county fire department, rural county, was out there, and even a couple of sheriff's deputies. They were, they had the thing under control. It was a big fight, and all of a sudden, somehow, all the FBI agents show up and announce they're taking over the investigation. And the sheriff's deputies, knowing how their sheriff thought, said, "Well, what kind of investigation are you talking about? There's no investigation." "Oh yes, there's ammo and powder, so we're taking over the investigation." So they called the sheriff, and he was out there lickety-split, and said, "I understand you've got an investigation. What about?" And he found out that the deputies had correctly informed him, and then he said, "Well, I don't think you should be doing that, and if you insist, I can put you in my building downtown." And they said, "That's quite all right. We're just here to take over this investigation. We're from the federal government, and we're here to help you," sort of thing. And the sheriff said, "I don't think you understand what I was saying. If you don't get out of my county right now, you're going to be in my jail." "What? You don't talk to the federal government that way." They went and called their supervisor, and the supervisor said, "A sheriff can do that." And knowing that sheriff, he would. He would. So they left, and you know what? The fire was taken care of. Everything was okay. We didn't need the federal government after all to be in the investigation. Let me encourage you, go over to the table and sign up for Gun Owners of America. It is a numbers game, as Lou Ingram was pointing out. We need to have you sending in those postcards and email and making the phone calls and going to the town halls, and you'll have information from Gun Owners of America about what's going on in the Congress when it's happening, and then ways that you can respond to it, as Senator Everett Dirksen was fond of saying, "When I feel the heat, I see the light." So folks, let's give them the heat.